the songwriting process is just sitting in the middle of your emotions and your feelings and try to get a handle on them. And for me, songwriting is just trying to sum up what life feels like in this moment. And in that one, I was obviously sitting on the porch one day being still going, I'm just going to keep trying to breathe it in. And then you own the fact that there are days that you have to go to town and you can't just sit in the sun and breathe it all in. The world knocks you about, and then you try to find your balance again. And whatever your balance point is, for me, often it's the moon. And so anyway, I don't, that's why early on we talked about this. I go, I'm kind of at a loss, Bill. I've only got one thing to say about songwriting, and that's just write what you know and what you feel and how you feel about what you know.
A little bit, to me, a little bit like Guy Clark. You have an amazing ability to make things that are really complex and difficult, complicated, sound very like they just sort of fall very simply out in these simple turns of phrase, and it just seems like, gosh, it would be very easy, I think, for people listening to think, boy, this is just a very easy, unconscious process that you go through, and I'm not sure I believe that that's true. So, I mean, talk about that a little bit.
Well,
how do you make it all seem so simple?
Well, I don't think I don't go. It's weird. Sometimes it feels like I'm writing word for word exact. Like if you want to get from point A to point B, there's two ways to get there. One's directly, and one is the scenic route. And I think that in songwriting, I take the scenic route because for all kinds of reasons. And sometimes I don't think I'm very good at it, and I think I take the direct route. And the reason being this: if you take, let's say you're a bus driver, and you've got people, and you're on a tour guide guy, and you're driving the bus. You can do this. You can just drive up to the monument, and you go, there it is. And people go, yeah, there it is. Or you can take this route to where everybody catches it out of the corner of their eye, and they catch their breath. They go, they saw it for themselves instead of you telling them where to look. And sometimes I think I'm not very good, and I'm just telling people, look there, instead of letting them see something or find meaning on their own. But I don't know about the complex. I think what I try to do is just make sense of it for myself and tell it with, this is that thing. Is it allegory? Is it analogy? It's everything's, everything's symbolism. Is the moon always the moon? No, it can be anything, but I kind of lost my little thread there, but I think mostly I try to tell a story in a way that maybe it's a little bit too obtuse, but hopefully if there's enough kind of, images in there that work or bring something to mind, then maybe it works and people can find some meaning for themselves, the audiences can, but I can't construct that. There's no way I can't construct it. There's no way I can sit and think up these things that I write. It's just my language, and it's just the way I relate to life and the meaning I find in it. I can't sit and I can't emphasize that enough. I can't sit and think these things up, and it's just my language for what life feels like in this moment. Is I'm trying to capture this moment, and this is the language I have for how it feels. So in a way, that's not, and it may be I'm writing a song that's point A to point B for me, but nobody else will pick that up as a direct route. They'll come about that accidentally. And again, this may all be what is the word? Not clear.
I'm going to guess that even though the songs are inspired, by what you're feeling and what you're, trying to figure out, that there is, that they don't just all come in one stream of consciousness that you just let flow out of the guitar and into the air. Now some do, but
Most. Probably 99.5%.
really.
Yeah.
So you don't find yourself editing much.
Here's I've gotten really good at editing on the fly. My songwriting process is I'll start, okay, I'm feeling a certain way, and let me just kind of noodle through this one for a minute, and then I'll talk about it. But so I'm playing the guitar and I'm feeling something, and I'll come up with the opening line, and if the opening line gets my attention, then I'll sing that line, and I'll figure out how I want to sing it, maybe how I want to play it. And then the next line comes, and before you know it, I've got maybe 4 lines, a verse. And I'll keep singing that verse over and over. And as I'm singing it over and over, I'm both polishing the words as they go, as they're metered in the song, and I'm refining the melody line that I sing. I may even be refining the guitar part a little bit. And while I'm doing that, while I'm, sanding and working on the first verse, the whole time I'm trying to listen for where the song wants to go. And if it goes to the first line of the second verse and I like it, the process continues. If I don't like it, I'll try 2 or 3 things in that line. So when I say I don't edit, I completely edit on the line, on the fly. But what's happening is, can I stop this for a second and give this a little analogy? Talking about, to me, this is what it's like. In our great awareness, it's our subconscious and our everything else that we've ever seen or remembered. It's in our brains. And to me, okay, we can't always access it. So it's kind of like in that little hallway between bedrooms, there's that, or maybe it's in the garage, there's that door that pulls down and a little ladder that goes up to the attic. And up in the attic are these boxes and boxes and boxes full of all the things you've seen, all the things you've heard, all the things you've felt. Okay, well, you go up there and you kind of like start taking stuff out. So there's that you that's taking stuff out of the boxes in the attic and looking at them, and that's the how do I see it? Okay, in the songwriting process, there's the muse, the inspiration, and then the editor. So this person in the attic is handing them down to the other you that's down there with the guitar and looking at these pages, and yeah, I like this, and before you know it, they've got a whole pile of stuff on the table, and the person with the guitar is working through all this information coming from there, and it's kind of like I don't have that separation. The person up in the attic is kind of handing down mostly finished stuff, and I don't question the person in the attic handing me down the stuff. We talk about it maybe about 3/4 of the way up the ladder. And this is why my songs are weird, because that's the way my mind works, and sorry about that.
I think that was pretty good.
I'm letting the guy in the attic choose, and I trust that what he pulls out of the boxes is what's going to go on. So, let me play this one.
Yep.
Because this is the way they happen, and if I don't finish a song pretty much in that rush of inspiration and simultaneous editing and polishing. And the other thing is that when I'm done, like maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 3 hours, but when I've got it all in my head, I don't write the words down, but when I've got it all in my head, Here's my measure for whether or not I'm going to keep playing the song. If I like it enough to play it 100 times in the next 5 hours and 500 times in the next 2 days, then I'm probably going to keep that song. And the one thing I think a lot of people that write songs don't do is sand them enough. You don't go build a piece of furniture and just nail it together and say, here's my table. You nail it together and then you sand on it for days, or you putty it and sand on it, or whatever you do. But so my process is staying with it till I'm pretty much like it. And then if I can keep playing it for the next 2 days and always get a lift out of playing it, and it's still talking to me and I'm enjoying it, then it's probably there to stay. I wrote this one, last song I wrote before my dad passed away, when I was taking care of him. Well, the only thing that keeps me sane is the knowing I don't know that much of anything. And by that I mean I'm hopeful. By that I mean I'm hopeful. Yeah. There's the rush of life, and then the passion play, and then the slowing down, and then the fading away. And the only thing that keeps me sane is trying to wrap my head around all that words can't say. And by that I mean I'm hopeful. By that I mean I'm hopeful. And I'll take my place, stand my ground, till I give it up, till I back down. And the only thing that keeps me sane is believing in someone I've never been. And by that I mean I'm hopeful. By that I mean I'm hopeful. Though I can be a blind man without your eyes, so wandering lost, that'd be no surprise. A blind man, but an open book I left beside this road I took. It's a short, sweet life, but some days drag on, where all I want to do is sit in silence till the day is gone. And by that I mean it's the only thing, it's the only thing that keeps me sane. And by that I mean I'm hopeful. By that I mean I'm hopeful. By that I mean I'm hopeful.